We're live. Well, good afternoon, everybody. It is weekly update number 53, and we've got some visa updates for you for timings and visas which have come in, YouTube comments from last week, and at the end, in our Spain section, we're going to show you a bit of the countryside, some of the flowers we've got here, some other things, and also let you know what happens when a pet dies in Spain as well. This is weekly update number 53. Right then, I think we're live, and there we go. So as soon as people start watching, we should see. It should give me an indicator somewhere here. Let's have a look. Nobody on yet, I don't think. And yes. So anyway, once again, apologies for not being able to do a live last week. I was in the UK. I'll come to that a bit later on. Yeah, here in Spain at the moment, wow, the weather's just amazing. February, spring has definitely kicked in 100%. I can tell you that now. We are going to move the lives over to a Thursday, but we're not going to do that until the end of March. So that'll probably be the beginning of April. We're going to keep them on Sundays all the way through March, and then once we get to the beginning of April, we will start the lives then. And let's answer the phone live to Lara and see what's happening.
Hello.
Hi. So I'm just on a live at the moment.
All right, you're live.
Yeah, that's all right. How can I help? Everybody's watching now, so don't worry.
I'm sorry. I'll call you later.
Are you okay? Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. Yeah, good. I just got to ring you back after the live time. Sorry.
No worries. I'll speak to you in a bit.
Right,
Bye.
Love you. Bye.
There we go. So that's Lara now. She's happy. That's all fine. Right. So let's carry on with our live, shall we then, this afternoon. A bit of information about the visas then. Let's get kicked off with that. Basically, we've had 6 visas back this week, and we've had 2 from... Now, this is very, very interesting. A lot of people are asking, does it matter where I'm going and where I'm applying? Well, you'll see all over social media, evidently it does matter where you're applying, because Manchester is quite evidently the slowest at the moment. But we have got 6 visas back, and they're all going to Alicante. And just to give you the timings and the consulates of those visas, because it'll give you an idea of how long they're taking. Well, Edinburgh to Alicante, 60 days. That was something that came out. We've got an Edinburgh to Alicante, which took 95 days. So that's 5 days over what they normally advise is the maximum amount of time. And we had a Manchester to Alicante, which took 101 days. So that's just to give you an idea. Now, normally our experience from last year is this time of the year, they normally speed up quite a bit. And they're just not doing it. London's ahead of the game. London's doing amazing. They're, less than a month at the moment for all their visas. But yeah, at the moment, they're all Alicante, 2 from Edinburgh, 1 from Manchester, only 1 made the 90-day cut. All the other ones took a bit longer. So that was a bit of a pain, wasn't it? So yeah, and let's go over to the chat and see what's going on in the chat, see if there's anybody in there at the moment. We've got Paul. Hi, Paul. Good evening. Sorry to hear about bereavement in the family. Hope you're well. Yeah, we're all good, Paul, and thanks for that. That's much appreciated. Be a few trips back to the UK, I think, this month coming. And no one else on at the moment. Only 3 people on the live at the moment. But it's probably a bit early now for people if you're in Spain. I don't know. I wanted to show you these photos of our clients who have been getting their residency cards. So there we go. We've got that's Veronica, Graham, and Nadia. They picked up their residency cards. They were here on an NLV. They're with Chris, our translator from Malaga East. So she's in charge of all the Malaga East appointments. And it was lovely to see them there finally getting their TIE cards. You can see they were very happy. And here is another one. And I wanted to talk about this one because this is a historic Vespa. Now, this is Jose, who is our ingeniero técnico. He is basically the guy who does the technical documentation for the vehicles before they go to the ITV test. And that's our client Rocco. Now, in the case of the historic vehicles, Jose does it all before then it goes to the ITV test. He goes to the ITV test with the clients, and then the paperwork crosses our desk to finalize the registration. But there's one very important thing is that now the historic registrations have become easier. So what I mean by that is there used to be this stage where for historic registration of a vehicle, you had to get a certificate from an historic club verifying that the vehicle is historic. You had to get a ficha técnica reducida, which is done by Jose himself, which is the actual technical specification and the document for the vehicle. And then you had to get a verification from they call it a laboratory, basically. It's a technical office which basically comes, inspects the vehicles, and does a whole historic spec on it. Now, the biggest problem we had with these historic vehicles was that we used to have to send all of that to the government for approval. Then a technician at the government, in the government, would go, yeah, stampity stamp, 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 send it back to us. We would then go to the ITV, and quite often the ITV would then pick up problems and say, oh no, that needs changing, which means going all the way back to the beginning, changing a document, sending it to the government again, and this could take 6 months. This isn't a quick solution. So now they've taken, and quite rightly so, because all these documents are done by qualified people, so quite rightly so, they've taken that control of going to the government away, so we can get the documents and go straight to the ITV, which is absolutely amazing. So we're very, very, very happy that's happened, and that was our first historic test. We had stopped doing historic vehicles just because of the hassle we got from the local government, the Junta Andalucia, when trying to get the paperwork approved. It just wasn't worth it for us, because even when they did approve it, if they didn't approve it, it meant going back to the technicians and then having to resubmit documents another 6 months. If they did approve it and it got to the ITV and there was a problem, it then took 6 months to fix. So unfortunately we just didn't. We decided to knock them on the head. But now I'm happy to say that we're going to carry on doing them with this new system, and that is our first one that's across the line. So that's very happy about that. And then just one last thing, again related to cars. We've got a client or potential client in the US who is looking at bringing their vehicle over to Spain and importing it for change of residency. Now, when a vehicle comes from the US, 99% of the time you have to do it for change of residency, and I'm going to explain why now, because it can be quite confusing for people. So the first thing is, to qualify, you have to have owned the vehicle for more than 6 months. Now, 6 months is based on when the registration document was put in your name. Okay, so it will say registered on whatever date, and every single country has a little bit of a different way of doing it. And quite often in the US, I've seen in different states that the documents look slightly different as well. So it has to have been in your name for 6 months from the time of being registered. Okay, from the time of registering the vehicle. And what does that mean? That means that when you bring that vehicle to Spain, and if it's coming from the US, it's quite possibly going to be shipped. When it gets to customs, they're going to look at the date on your residency card or the first date that you registered on the Padron. They will take either of those as your first date of having residency, which is because they don't like to waive tax. So they will say, oh, they registered on the Padron on this date. We don't care about their residency document. That's the date that we're going to take. Or if not, it's your TIE card if you're a third country national, or your EU residency card if you've got an EU passport. And the gap between that date and when the vehicle was registered must be 6 months. If it is 6 months, then you can apply to waive the VAT and duty on an import. Now, normally when we get vehicles from the US, that part of the process, which gets a document called a DUA is done for us, because the shippers do that, because the vehicle is being physically taken through a port, and for it to be released from that port, you need this document to prove that it's met its tax liabilities. With the British cars, it's different, because British cars actually drive here, so they don't come through a shipment port or anything like that. So when, after Brexit, we had to find some agents who basically dealt with that part of the process with the asset, or the good, if you like, already in the country. So this involves actually taking photos of the car. It involves actually being pendant. If they want to see it in person, then you actually have to go down the port and take it, but that doesn't happen very often. And then when that car's here, you say the reason it's here and it hasn't gone through a port is because it was driven. You know, you could drive into Spain and France off the ferry, etc. And then we send in all the documents, and it's all done on a digital basis. But that gap must be there between when you took your padron, your residency, to the registration of the vehicle to be able to waive the tax. The other thing is, if you said, oh, well, I don't care, I'm just going to pay the tax on this vehicle and then we'll bring it in anyway. That won't work either, because when you go to the ITV, which is the technical inspection, they will only allow you to pass that if the vehicle is from outside the EU for change of residence, and they're going to check exactly the same thing: the date on the registration of the vehicle and the date of your residence, or the first time you registered on the padron. So I hope that explained that. I did say to one of our clients I was going to explain that on here. And yeah, so let's move on to our YouTube comments now. Okay, then, so I'll just go back to the chats here. It's only Paul on this evening. Hi, Paul. I'm not in. Paul said he's not in. He's not in Spain. In very rainy Coventry. Oh, sorry about that. I'm not going to tell you what it's like here. Then I won't turn the camera around and show you. Might annoy you, I have to say. Unfortunately, I'm not explaining. It's written that twice. Yeah, it was. I have to say, it's a bit of a shock to the system. As I'm getting older, going back to the UK is getting colder. They never used to really bother me that much, but it was a bit of a shock to the system when I was back last week. It was absolutely bitter cold. Really, it was freezing. I don't think I got warm the whole time I was there. And then when I come back here, it seems it's definitely changed in the last couple of weeks. Spring seems to have kicked in. I don't know if we're going to have any sort of dips again in the weather. We did have a bit of rain the other day, but it's not cold at all. You know, it went down to 10 yesterday evening. So yeah, the spring, let me know how it is in your area. If you're in Alicante, Murcia, anywhere else in Spain, please let me know what it's like. And at the moment here in the south of Spain, in Malaga, Andalucia, it's absolutely lovely for this time of year. Okay, then, so YouTube, what we've got going on with YouTube? Oh, first of all, check this out. He says, there we go. So that's a podcast that was published yesterday. All right, check that podcast out. It's very interesting. Slightly different podcast from ones that we normally do. And Lee, who I've known for many years, back in the day when we used to do a bit of running, is an absolutely fantastic athlete. I mean, he really does play down in the podcast how good he is. He really does. He was the British 100-kilometer ultra distance champion. He's been in the British Marathon running team. He's just won the hardest race in the world in Granada. I have so much respect for his running and his career and what he's done, and he's now a YouTuber as well. So now he's moving. Obviously, he's getting older now. You've got to look at your career, and if the running does end at some point, where you're going to go with it? Well, he's now moved on to YouTube, and he's always coached people, but now he's doing it on YouTube, and he's also got private clients. So check out that podcast. It was definitely a good one. Very, very interesting. Watch it to the end. And what have we got going on here? So anyway, for the YouTube comments, just wanted to thank everybody who dropped me a message last week. Yeah, as I say, I couldn't do the thing. The live. I lost it. I lost my stepfather, who we were all very close to, and but it's very sad. But at the same time, it was he didn't suffer, wasn't ill, so I'm sure he would have wanted to go that way. And thanks to Janet there for dropping a comment. And we can't wait to see you this month. You're coming in, visa in hand. And these are all the other comments I got as well. So thanks, Roger, Sue, Mike, and Crosby1231. It was really nice. I've answered them all back now, but it was nice on that Sunday to get a load of comments back as well. It's been a long week. Also, thanks to Peter, Patrick, Anna, and Kez, obviously, for your comments as well. And anybody else who dropped me a note there to say hi and to send me condolences. And this was quite a funny one from Patrick. Yeah, it's hilarious. Sometimes you do these shorts, right? Check this one out of the goats. And they're just literally on the side of a road. I think, that make a good short. And I've given up trying to make shorts look nice. And I think I just post them. Why not? But the ones I post, like, are just goats. And there was another one I did of electric cable as well. They seem to get an awful lot more hits than the ones that I actually plan, which is quite funny. And we've got 3 people on. Say hi if you're on. Not that many on this evening. And then what else have we got going on here? Yeah. And finally, I'm getting some of my Cadiz content out. I went on holiday to Cadiz last September, believe it or not, to go and record with a 360 camera and just do a few videos. And a couple of weeks later, when I was in the middle of editing it all, I fell over, broke my arm, and that was it. Didn't do anything with it. So I'm finally going through the old footage and making some shorts up. And you can see there that Patrick and Scats have commented on those shorts. And don't forget, I'll be on Scats' channel next week as well. And Stuart Jones 9874. This was it's an old video. A day out with Sean, expat in Matheron. That was a great day out. I'd only just met Sean, and I said, I'm going to come down and say hi. And that's the first time I met him. And he actually took me on this massive day out. Around there, we recorded everywhere. It was brilliant. Showed me the whole area. Hey, Chris, I'm just catching up on your older videos. I didn't realize that you had done these, and I really like them. I watch you every week on your channel and find the videos very informative. My plan is to retire to Spain, and information you provide really helps. Well, get in touch, drop us a book a call in, and we can hopefully as well chat about your plans, your timeline. Never too early, so get a call in. I always like to speak, and the calls are running middle of March at the moment. So get a call booked in. We can have a chat about that, Stuart. And thanks for the support on the channel. And views from Malaga. This views from the runways at Malaga Airport. This short didn't do very well, but I did when I was taxiing out. I did a short, and I realised you can see 4 different towns. So there you go. Check that one out on our feed. And thanks, Patrick, for you'll get there one day, Patrick. Don't worry. And this is still doing very well, this video here, the new residency law approved. I've got another one scripted that I'm going to do very soon. My Latin Life, this was difficult to follow. Yeah, you contacted me about going on your podcast as well, My Latin Life. I asked you a question, you never got back to me. Then we've got Cesar Fernandez Lopez, I think that's been translated, and that was the tune that we used for the short, but because it was less than a minute, it still didn't get a copyright strike. So weekly update number 51. Simon Hopkinson, thanks for the live show response to my question from episode 50. We'll get on a book a call for the second half of the year. Do you pass us on to Jeremy after the phone chat, or do we contact him ourselves? I answered that, Simon, with a link which he responded to contact Jeremy, I think the IFA, and just fill in the form, and I'll pass it over to him, and he'll contact you as soon as he can. And on the London visa, on the update 49, hey, Hey, Chris, the boss, and I don't know about the boss. Hey, Chris, the boss, and I hope to move to Spain from Orlando, Florida in late 2026. Would you mind covering all the services your team provides, maybe every other update video? That's a good idea, actually. You will likely to have new people watching videos each time, so it could help them too. I know these are more about updates, so you could devote just a minute or two. I appreciate you. Yeah, that's a good idea, actually. I'll do it at the end of the video. I'll do a little summary of the services that we do offer. You can always see them in the back here as well. So non-lucrative users, e-residency, TIE exchanges, which is TIE renewals now, which we've got coming up. I've actually got a new banner kicking around somewhere. I think it's in my car as well, which has got YouTube written all over it. The Brexit withdrawal agreement, residency. Hi, I've just watched the video and it's about the closest I've found to my situation. I moved to Spain in 2002, have an old A4 green paper with my NIE. I have a social security number, my tarjeta sanitaria card, but I've not yet applied for my TIE card. Anybody out there have any ideas? Yeah, I've got an idea. You need to apply for your card, David. Get on. If you've got an old A4 green sheet of paper, then you definitely need to apply for your card. Have you got any ideas? Maybe you're asking about how to do it. Well, you need to pay €12 on the €7.90 tax. You will need to have an X23 form, definitely an updated Padron certificate within the last 90 days. Because I'd imagine you changed your address since then, and your passport as well, and your original green paper certificate. If you're in Malaga, give us a shout. We will be able to help you. And where are we? Oh, that's another duplicate of that. And on Karate Girl Ibiza, on the new residency law, I'm confused as ever, and I'm already a resident. Well, don't worry. If you're already a resident, then it's not for you to worry. If you live here already, then the new residency law won't particularly affect you that much unless you're looking at changing your permission to something else or looking for a friend. So there we go. So that was our YouTube comments. If we've got 4 people watching, drop us a comment in the comment section if you want. And I think what we'll do now is we will move on to the Spain section. So what's been happening here in Spain? Well, I've took a few photos, Annabelle. As I say, it's been one of those days, one of those weeks where I've been backwards and forth and with work and everything, haven't actually been that active trying to get content and stuff. So we'll promise I'll have a lot more for you next week. And as I said, I will be putting these onto a Thursday, but not until April. So for March, we're going to keep them on a Sunday. And then in April, we're going to change them to a Thursday at 6 o'clock. First thing I wanted to show you was this. Now, I saw this time. I haven't seen many of these signs in Spain, believe it or not. I was like, hang on a minute, how is 5.5 tons? Surely that's non-metric, or, you know, what does that mean? And you don't see them often anyway. I did a bit of research, and in Spain, that actually means 5.5 metric tons. So the sign shows the weight limit for the side. It indicates that the vehicles with a gross weight exceeding 5.5 metric tons, that's 5,500 kilos, are prohibited from passing beyond this point. So obviously lorries. So that's the whole of the sort of the old town in above Alarin. So yeah, I just thought I'd take that photo and put that up there because it's not often you see them. So if you do see one of them, you know that lorries can't go down that road. There you go. And I also wanted to show you this completely fake text from the DGT. This is not from the traffic authorities at all. They did not send you this. If you click on that link, it'll probably take you through to somewhere and tell you to pay some money or whatever. But if you get one of these, just ignore that text. That is a completely fake text and not a very good one at that, I can tell you. So watch out for fake text on your phone. You should never click links from texts on your phone. never really, because most courier websites may send you, if you're using DHL, for example, or somebody, they may send you a link by text, but you can always track it on their website. So never, to be safe, just never hit a link from a text. That's it. Just wanted to show you this beautiful arrangement of jamon that we had the other day in a restaurant, which was that was in a restaurant here called Tita Paki, and that was a starter, and it was just 11 euros for that plate of jamon. It was absolutely amazing. I just loved the artistry in arranging it on the plate. Definitely someone who knew what they were doing did that. So that was good. Oh, and I got this as well. There's a couple more bits that I wanted to show you. What else have we got? Do you know what this means? This means for rent. Now, I might be quite obvious for those of you watching this from Spain, and you've got a little bit of Spanish, you've got lots of Spanish maybe, I don't know, but I'm trying to get some more back to basic stuff. So if you in Spain and you see that sign in a window anywhere, then that means that that place is to rent. And that was an office building actually, because we're currently looking for new offices, because we've just signed our last contract in the current offices where we are. We've been there for 6 years, but you can't do more than that period. Unfortunately, we managed to get, you can normally only do 3 years. We managed to get a 3-year extension, and now they won't extend that for 9 years, I'm afraid. So we'll be kicked out next May, and we'll be looking for a lovely new office where we can put up sticks across the top. And now, part on from the title of the video, I wanted to tell you this was our cat Player, who sadly passed away this week. She was our cat for 20 years. We picked her up, Lara picked her up the same year that I met Lara, in a place called Salou, which is in the north of Spain. Well, in the north, when I say it's the north, it's the Mediterranean coast, but the North Mediterranean coast in the province of Tarragona. And she was named Player because that was the hotel where at that time I worked and where we met. And she's been with us ever since. If her eyes could tell us a story, write a book, it would be our life story in Spain together. Sadly, she passed away this week. When I got back from the UK, she was very sick, but she had been sick before. We tried everything possible with her. She had thyroid problems, and we were giving her vitamin D injections, and she lasted about 6 months after she started to get sick. But sadly, there's nothing we could do because she was frail. You couldn't operate on her, and they wanted to do biopsies, and we basically just said no. It's just the journey to the vets eventually would have got her, I think. So anyway, but what I wanted to talk about was what happened afterwards, because you do have if you're in an unfortunate situation, first of all, that a cat would need to be put to sleep, for example, then there is that option here in Andalucia that people actually come to the house rather than you going to the vets, if that is your case. With what happens afterwards is that they do have these pet crematoriums, and I was quite shocked. I didn't realize so that these places existed, and it was absolutely amazing. When we were there, we basically phoned up and said, look, this has happened, what can we do? And so because we don't really want to bury her, we want to have her cremated. And they said, yeah, come along. And they charged us 175 euros, and basically you go and they give you a chapel of rest, so you can be with your pet for a while if you want. There's a lovely book you can sign and stuff. And then after that, they come and say, you ready? Yeah, okay, so they'll take the pet away. In the case of larger dogs, there was actually like a chapel of rest they would bring the dog in through a different way, so you could spend the last few moments with the dog. And it was all very well done, I have to say. I was quite shocked, because when they said, pet crematorium, I quite imagined we'd be a box and just hand over the pet and that be it. But they were really, really, really nice. And they afterwards they give you the ashes in a small box with a sticker and a ribbon on it, and give you the option to buy a urn or something if you want. Or they say there's also, you know, a lot of people have these plant things as well. So so sadly that happened, but the good news is that, you know, our experience with it all was just amazing when it came to what happened afterwards. So bear that in mind, Pet Crematorium. And the lady who we spoke to afterwards said I could go and do a video as well, which I will do. So, and I think it's very important because those of you come with your beloved pets, as I say, 20 years Play was our cat. So she was part of the family. Obviously, the kids and everybody were devastated, but she had an absolutely amazing life. A couple more things I wanted to show you was on my run stroke jog stroke walking, far too overweight at the moment, but I will get it back mission this morning on a Sunday. I came across this. Now, the reason that I took a photo of it, because I have that is that's quite enlarged, that photo. It's only about 1 inch wide, but that didn't really belong on the branch when I was running past. I went, oh, that's something interesting. And it turns out that this is a praying mantis egg type thing. So that's where all the praying mantis babies are. So when I Google lensed it, it came up with a praying mantis. So there you go. If you do see those in the tree, please don't touch them. Leave them alone. They are from praying mantises. So I didn't stay there long enough to see if it hatched. Obviously, I ran 6 kilometers today. Well, I say running. It was a run out of breath type thing. But anyway, got to start somewhere. And I just wanted to share this bottle of wine, Las Seis Al-Ajas. It's Al-Ajas. Las Seis Al-Ajas. It's a Rioja. Again, I used to bang on about how I don't like Riojas, but I'm deciding I do like the nicer ones. This in a restaurant is 26 euros where we went. So it's not a cheap wine, but I have to say it was an amazing bottle. So if you see this anywhere, then I would say that's a good idea to go and try that. It was a really good bottle of wine. Oh, we've got 7 people on now. Drop me a comment. I'm going to be wrapping up soon, but drop me a comment in the comments box if you're watching and say hi. I won't feel on my own then. And then the last thing I wanted to show you. Now, just this from the group after Brexit in Spain, which is oh, hang a minute. No, that's not the first page. Let's get the first page up for you. Which is, you know, I always say, you know, don't take too much notice of Facebook groups, but this after Brexit in Spain is evidently a fantastic Facebook group. It has a lot of good information on there. It's monitored very well, and it's definitely one of the better ones on there. So yeah, I would definitely probably direct myself if I do have to go on Facebook to try and get information on there rather than some of the other groups. But I just wanted to read this out because it's quite important for people who have got guests visiting, because this is quite a sad story, but I think it needs to be brought to the people's attention. I read a post about GHIC and I was too late to comment. My aunt and uncle came from Spain on a 3-month trip in a camper van. They had been in Alicante 60 days. When my uncle collapsed, they had an EHIC, European equivalent of GHIC. The ambulance came and took him to hospital, where my aunt presented the EHIC card. Scans found a brain tumor and he had emergency surgery to remove it and was then put into a coma. My aunt was approached and asked to show passport tickets showing date of entry into Spain, which she provided. She was then told that the cover was good. He remained in a coma for 30 days and was then placed in special care ward where treatment and care was excellent. After 70 days in the ward, they were going to move him to a rehabilitation ward. At this point, I'm bringing the next bit up for you. At this point, my aunt passed an envelope from the hospital manager told they had needed to settle the costs of the care 17 days over the 90-day cover period provided by EHIC. family come together and managed to pay 17,000 euros. They regretted he had no travel insurance and believed he was sufficient. We had to pull him out of hospital, and family member flew down to drive him back to the UK in his camper van bed. I mean, how horrific is that? These poor people. And obviously, didn't have the travel insurance in place. So if you have got people coming over to visit you, I mean, you just never know what is going to happen, do you? So definitely, I wanted to get that story out there because I thought it'd be a very good story to get out and show people. So, oh, hi, hang on a minute. So we've got Steve's on. Hi, Steve. How are you doing? So I missed the start. I promised to restart. Watch from the beginning. Yeah, give us a watch. Nearly wrapping up now. What are we on? 35 minutes. There we go. Yeah. Thanks for popping in now, though. And yeah, we've got a few comments there and a bit of an interesting one from the beginning. So yeah, I think that's about it for this week, guys. I will be back next week at 6 o'clock with a weekly update, and hopefully get another video out this week. I've got a withdrawal agreement video which is ready to go. I've got 2 more podcasts to record with people this week because it is the Semana Blanca. That's something I forgot to mention. This week, don't forget that in certain areas in Spain, here in Andalucia, it is Semana, well, in Malaga, Cadiz, and Almeria, I think it is. Malaga, Cadiz, and Granada. Some of the provinces, it's Semana Blanca, so it's the half term. The children are off school. So they're off school this week. So normally the hotels are very expensive when the kids are off school, but we managed to find a place down in Figueroa from Thursday to Sunday, which is just a room. It's the old what was it called, Club La Costa, and it was very very cheap for the time. It was like 235 euros or something for the 3 nights or 4 nights. I know it's less than 300 euros. Obviously, it's self-catering. You've got to go get your own food from the supermarket. So, but I will still be working away remotely, but from Thursday, Friday, and maybe on Sunday, we'll do a live from there. If not, we'll run up back to the house and do it from here. And also, don't forget, if you're in Andalucia, that Dia de Andalucia is the Friday the 28th. Let me just make sure I've got that right. It is Friday, isn't it? Yeah, Friday the 28th. Now, Dia de Andalucia is a public bank holiday here, and it's when we celebrate Andalucia becoming its own autonomous community. So Friday is a bank holiday, and so the office will be closed on Friday. Because it's not permitted to work on bank holidays, so that's brilliant. Okay, I think we're done. Well, thanks for dropping in, guys. Thanks, Steve and Paul. Got 7 people in now. I'm trying to find where we are to even wrap up. Here we go. So yeah, don't forget, we'll see you next week, and like, subscribe, check out Spotify podcasts and all of that business to keep on our content.